Okay.
Well, so far, so good. I'm just going to drive around the office block.
Hey, don't take any chances.
Ah, don't worry. Everyone's gone away for the weekend. We're coming near to the drafting offices now. No one in sight. I'm not going to stop. I'm just going to slow down and then you jump out of the back. Okay?
Okay.
You get it?
Yeah, or $500,000 worth.
Good.
This way.
How things collect over the years.
Is all of this my stuff? Everything you see. On the freighter coming over, you took most of number 2 hold.
I had no idea. How about the paintings?
The paintings and the rest of your collection are already across the channel, on their way.
When do they arrive in Switzerland?
Day after tomorrow, Miss Carter will be there to see that everything's all right. Miss Carter, my secretary, Mr. Peabody.
How do you do?
Hello. How are you?
Good morning, sir. You've got a great organization here, Carlos.
Thank you.
If it hadn't been for you, I hate to think of the problems I'd have to face moving my home from New York to Switzerland.
Don't you worry. We're not shy when it comes to billing our customers.
I anticipate that you and valued American clients would like coffee.
Well, thank you, Jim, will you?
That's what I call service.
please?
8 and 6 for that.
Thank you.
What's a little like you doing down in the docks then?
I've been all around here when I was in London before. You see, it's an area of great historical interest. The first dock was built at Blackwall in 1661. Later, after Wellington defeated Napoleon at Waterloo on June 17, 1815, Napoleonic prisoners of war were brought over. They built nearly all of this. Apart from its association with Garrick and the Restoration Theater.
Cool.
Thank you. You really should use a higher octane mixture. The specific gravity of hydrocarbons isn't sufficiently volatile at that low density. Hello, Father.
Well, young Henry, what are you doing here? I thought you were going to make a day of it at the zoo.
I've been.
Nothing of interest?
Well, no, not much. Mustelodite schmitziana wouldn't show himself. He stayed rolled up in the back of his cage.
What, may I ask, may Mustelodite schmitziana be?
Why, Schmidt's weasel. It's very rare and noted for its irregular gestation period. Schmidt himself gave it as 9.5 weeks, but later observers put it at more like 11.
Well, anyway, you haven't met Mr. Varela yet. Carlos, this is my son, Henry Jr.
How do you do, sir?
Mr. Carlos Varela.
Hello, young man.
And this is Mr.
I am Chin Sung.
Literally, that means golden age. The Sung period developed China's greatest culture, 960 to 1279.
Your son seems to be a well-informed gentleman.
He has an IQ of 250. They've given up testing him. Whenever they do, the needles fly right off the dial. That's why I want to get him into this Swiss school. My European manager, Mr. William J. Randall, is meeting him here and taking him down there tomorrow.
Oh, I see. Well, then you'll be arriving more or less at the same time as Miss Carter, Henry.
How is she traveling, sir?
She's driving down. She has some business to attend to for me.
Well, boy, what does bring you to the docks?
It's a book I'm looking for. My Nightingale.
Nightingale?
On the poet cycloids. I thought I had it at the hotel, but it must have been packed up in New York. I know which crate it'll be in, number 22.
And I take it you want it now.
Well, yes.
Well, you're out of luck, Henry. You see, all these things are in bond, and if we start breaking up seals, this gentleman there will be after us with an axe.
Well, that's too bad. I really wanted that book.
Well, couldn't you pick up another copy at a technical bookshop somewhere?
I probably could, although it's not a very popular book.
I know what you mean.
Couldn't I stay and have a look around?
Well,
Yes, by all means. Chin will look after him.
that's very kind of you.
Thank you.
Delivery in person.
Well, you were seen.
Of course we were seen. How do you expect to drive into a place like that in broad daylight and not be seen?
When you act normally, you arouse no suspicion, right?
Oh, we had the right papers. Lewis was wearing the right uniform. The van looked like one of theirs. The rest was easy.
Always works, doesn't it?
It didn't work this time.
How can you say that?
They've got a description of the van. It was in the morning papers.
What's the panic, Mr. Ivor? All that's happened's a police flash for a van. We can deny any knowledge of that. They won't find any fingerprints or anything of that sort. Yeah, well, with regard to the job itself, no one at the space plant will know exactly what's missing until tomorrow at the earliest. So what you worried about? There's no chance of a connection between you and this robbery.
No connection. And what about this? The blueprints, the plans.
You won't be holding them long enough.
Darren, why don't you get smart? Those could also incriminate the people who are going to pay us for the plans. They are a big company. They don't mind stealing a competitor's ideas, but they don't want to get involved in anything which might not hold up.
Yeah, they're still interested.
Well, they are still interested. But we have to make new arrangements.
What new arrangements?
Well, they weren't calmly asked for delivery, and they don't want the material sent by mail. They are afraid the postal authorities might spot them. We'll have to destroy the original documents.
How are we going to hand them over?
We are going to use the old bookshop drop. They made it a condition.
Bookshop drop? What the heck's that?
It's a system. A system we sometimes use for getting things out of the country. Well, we have to type out copies, reducing these pages in size. We bind them into an unmarked new book and place it in the shelves of a certain bookshop. A courier will be waiting. As soon as we leave the book, he will take it down, pay for it, and walk out. There is nothing to connect him with us.
Yeah, now, Bad, not bad at all. Who's going to do all this?
Well, you are, darling. That is, if you wish to be paid.
Is that the book we're going to use?
Yes. Basic calculus. Very good, very profound. It's a first edition. It's out of print now.
Never heard of it. What's it about? Birds?
It's a definitive treatise of cycloids. Only a mathematician could understand it. And it's been superseded. It's totally impossible that anyone would want to buy this if he saw it. And as it will be on the shelves of the shop for only a few seconds, we are cutting down the risks we're down to almost nil.
That's how we want them.
Yes, we'll have to work fast. Their courier will be in the bookshop this afternoon.
You all right?
Yes, I think.
Judo called the gentle art. Secret is not to resist. Now, you make like you're going to hit me. I show you. This called arm lock. Now, I show you another one. This called hip flow.
Most enlightening. A perfect application of Newton's principle of momentum.
Newton should know. Him very good judo champion.
He was?
Now, try again. Small man make big man look like dope with hip flow. One more time.
Yes, Newton was right.
I've got these figures on receivable commission. Shall I send them along to accounts?
No, let me check them first, will you?
I'll get the tabulator.
Thank you.
Time for Miss Carter to leave for uptown, so I bring Mr. Peabody Jr.
Good.
Thank you very much, Chin. Maybe next time I'm in London, you'll show me some more holds.
You practice what I show you today, and before long you'll be graded black belt.
Hey, what is all this? Have you been teaching Henry judo?
Henry, very good student. He learned much faster than you.
Has he taught you how to break an arm lock, Henry?
I guess we didn't have time for that one.
Watch this. Come, Chin. Hold my arm.
Are you all right, Mr. Varela?
Did you see me break that arm lock, Henry?
But did you break anything else, Mr. Varela? That's what concerns me.
No, I don't think so. Nothing important.
Very sorry, Mr. Varela. Sudden enthusiasm overcame me.
You succumbed too easily, Chin. But never mind, I'm glad we could show Henry what a great science this is.
I will add it to my curriculum, Mr. Varela. Thank you for such a visual demonstration.
You're most welcome.
Shall I add them up?
No, I'll do it myself. By the way, Miss Carter, you haven't met Mr. Peabody's son, Henry.
How do you do, Miss Carter?
How do you do, Henry? If you don't mind waiting a few seconds, we just want to check these figures. Then I'll take you up to town like Mr. Varela arranged.
Goodbye, Henry. Don't forget what I show you.
Don't worry, I won't.
So you're off by train in the morning with your father's manager.
Uh-huh, Mr. Randall.
What's wrong with that?
Well, I suppose he's all right, but he's a bit old to travel with.
How do you mean, old?
Well, you know, old.
Oh, I see, old.
Miss Carter,
Yes?
I was just thinking that, well, instead of the train trip tomorrow, couldn't I travel to Switzerland with you?
Certainly. I'd be delighted to have you with me. But what about Mr. Randall? Isn't he too old for such a long car journey?
Oh, he wouldn't mind.
Well, it's fine with me. But I think we should ask your father. Now, where do you want to go?
I'd like to go to a bookshop, if you don't mind, the largest technical section in London. You see, I'm looking for a book by Nightingale on the pull of cycloids. It's a very interesting book. As a matter of fact, I prefer it to Gödel's theorem.
Well, I'd be inclined to agree with you. I know the very place. Do you want me to come with you?
No, thank you. I'll be all right if you'll just drop me at the store.
All right.
Is it ready? We haven't much time left.
Well, there it is, containing 40 pages of typescript. Now, I can't see very much difference between this and a genuine book, can you?
Oh, it's good.
Well, not that I can see at first glance.
First glance, all it counts. Only been in the shop for 30 seconds.
Get a coat on. The pickup is timed for 3:20.
I think you'll find something there, Professor. Thank you very much. Not at all, no.
Watch where you're going, boy.
Sorry, ma'am.
On the second shelf there, madam.
Thank you. I want to take this, please.
Yes? Are you quite sure this is the book you want?
Oh, yes. Basic calculus is quite a collector's item.
You're buying it then?
It's out of date, of course, as I suppose you know.
Oh, yes, yes.
Excuse me, it's rather urgent. I am searching for a very special book on mathematics.
Mathematics, madam. The third shelf at the back.
I have already searched that. It's not there. Have you some other department?
Well, what particular book were you wanting?
Wait, it's a very unique first edition of... This book is sold?
Oh, yes, madam. Yes, this young gentleman has just bought it.
You want this book for yourself?
Yes. You see, the cycloids are a family of special curves with a number of remarkable properties.
Excuse me, sir. Your change.
The curve of fastest...
Yes, and your book, sir. Thank you very much. Was that the book you wanted, madam?
Yes. No.
Well, I can order you another copy.
There is no other copy.
Listen, Menikov, it was 1,000,000 to 1 chance. Those were not the terms of our agreement. We are not responsible. It was your courier who lost the book after we had made the delivery. And I insist that...
No excuses. Get that book.
Very well. As you say, then.
We burned the blueprints too soon, didn't we? I suppose it's up to us to restore the situation.
Well, if we wish to be paid. That confounded boy. Someone should have drowned him at birth.
Maybe it can still be arranged. Who is he?
His name is Peabody. Menikov's agent followed him to the Imperial Towers. He lives there.
Or was he just meeting someone?
I don't know, but he has effectively messed up our plans so far. And we are not going to let him continue to do so.
Good evening, Henry.
Good evening, Miss Carter.
I brought the customs clearance and manifest for your father. Is he here?
He'll be a few minutes late. He told me to apologize for him.
Oh, you've no need to do that. He's got a good man standing in for him.
Thank you. Come on, and I'll introduce you to Mr. Randall.
Lead the way.
Well, here he is, Miss Carter.
How do you do, Miss Carter?
You're Mr. Randall?
Why, yes. Why, you expecting someone different?
I'm sorry. Henry led me to believe you'd be a year or two more mature.
Oh, I understand. Henry thinks that anyone over the age of 20 is ancient.
Too much reading about cycloids.
He told me that you were a great scout, but you were old. Terribly old.
Miss Carter, do forgive me. I had to wait for a call from New York. I thought they'd never get off the line.
That's quite all right. I've got your documents, Mr. Peabody. All I need is your signature.
Thank you.
That's right, he's here with his father. Now, we got the suite number. Darren's outside, and we're ready to go any time you say.
You must both be very careful, Louis. Make quite certain the rooms are empty.
We'll go and see what we can do. Now, you look through this side of the room, I'll go to the other.
Okay. Any luck? Yeah, it's not here either. And maybe the kid took it with him.
Well, he didn't have it with him when he went downstairs. Now, you keep on looking around.
Here's my suggestion. That's where this kid should be. Kidnapped.
Well, I'm delighted I'll be having company tomorrow, driving to Lausanne.
That was a very good suggestion, young man. I hope it's not putting you to a lot of trouble.
Oh, not a bit. Mr. Randall can chaperone us.
If you'll excuse me, I'd like to go upstairs and do some reading before I go to bed.
Of course, but don't stay up too late.
We're leaving early.
I'll be ready.
Well, why don't we, all go up to the Blue Room for a nightcap? Wonderful idea. Would you care to join us, Miss Carter?
I'll be delighted.
Now, see that you turn straight in.
Yes, Father.
If Miss Carter's good enough to drive you to Lausanne, you don't want to keep her waiting in the morning. So say good night now.
Good night, Miss Carter.
Good night, Henry.
Night, Henry.
Good night, Mr. Randall.
Good night, Henry. Let's go on up to the Blue Room, shall we?
Did you hear that?
He's driving to Lucerne.
Yes. I'll go down to the porter and see if he knows where they're staying and what hotels.
What about the big guy? Suppose he's going with him.
Yeah, there's a possibility he might. Now, that means we're just going to have to choose our time for grabbing the book.
You mean we gotta follow them?
Yeah.
To Switzerland?
Anywhere. Now, we better be going because we want to be back here early in the morning if we don't want them to slip out on us. Come on.
Thank you, sir. Well, Henry.
Your letter?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Looking forward to the trip?
Yes, very much so.
What's that, Robert Louis Stevenson? Well, it's a bit more like the sort of thing I used to read when I was a boy. Glad to see I'm not completely out of fashion.
Well, you see, it's not Stevenson.
It's not Stevenson?
It's a book I bought yesterday on the cycloids.
Well, what's it doing in this jacket?
Well, books like this, I usually disguise them in another cover.
Yes, but why?
So grown-ups don't get embarrassed when they see me reading them.
Henry, you go right ahead and read your book. I promise that Miss Carter and I won't be embarrassed in the least.
Did you see that? The kid had it all the time.
So we'll just follow them to the air ferry.
Goodbye, Henry. Have a wonderful time.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Thank you. think we've got time for a drink before we load the cars. Ever flown with a car before, Henry?
No. Where do we land?
Calais.
And from there, we drive straight to Paris.
British United Airfares announced the departure of their flight to Rotterdam.
Would you like a drink, Henry?
Hmm?
Henry, I said, would you like a drink?
Yes, that'll be fine. Milk, please.
Please join their flight for Rotterdam.
Would you hold my book, please? I might lose it.
Of course. Miss?
Could I have it back when we get to France? I'd like to read it in the car.
Sure.
The kid's giving the book to the big guy.
Do you think he recognized you? He gave you a very, very funny look there for a minute.
Why should he? He wasn't looking when I put the book in the bookshelf.
Don't you think it's very odd that a boy of his age should be reading books on cycloids?
Yeah, now you kind of mention it. Hey, you think maybe he could be some kind of a plant?
Or maybe they're all in together. Now, suppose that another company was given the tip-off, right? And I've hired this mob to steal away the book.
A bunch of crooks.
Yeah. I mean, why else are they in such a hurry to get out of the country?
You're right. I should have spotted that big guy. He looks just like a con man.
Yeah. So? What do we do?
We'll keep track of them. When the time comes, I'll slug that big guy. We'll grab the kid and beat it.
Henry, how would you like to go try your luck?
There's no luck in those things. They work on the principle of random selection, but there's a feedback in them loading the odds.
Oh, well, suppose you go have a crack at it anyway.
Now then, why did you really send him over there?
Because of those two men over there. They seem to be taking a great interest in us.
Can't imagine why.
Well, I'd say it was because of you, Susie. It weren't for Henry.
Henry?
Yeah, there's something on his mind.
Did seem a little vague, but then he always does. He lives in a little world all of his own. You're imagining things.
Perhaps. I'm sure that he recognizes them. Now look at him now.
He does seem to be keeping an eye on them.
Any idea why he should?
None at all. He's a strange little boy, very sweet, but I don't understand him at all.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Sometimes you're dealing with an adult. In other ways, he's just a child. When something worries him, he won't tell you what it is until he's solved it in his own way. And he'll tell you what the trouble was when it's too late to help. There are times when you'd like to help.
Maybe we can help now.
No, I wouldn't be too sure. One thing that Henry always does is to look after the adults. You think that you're taking care of him, then suddenly you realize that Henry is taking care of you.
I get the feeling he's trying to take care of us now. Come on, let's see what he's up to. How are you making out then?
So far, no score.
Well, it must be that feedback. You see those two over there?
Where?
Over there by the door. One of them looks vaguely familiar. I don't suppose you've ever seen him before, have you?
No, I've never seen either of them before. Well, last one.
Will Captain Paul Masters please report to flight control? Thank you.
Hey, there you are, Susie, the champ.
Good. Put them in here.
Gee, thanks.
Attention, please. Passengers for Calais will please proceed with boarding cars to gate number 5. Attention, s'il vous plaît. Passagers pour Calais procéderont avec les billets d'embarquement à la porte numéro 5.
Everything looks wonderful this time of year.
Everything looks wonderful. Seems a shame to have to dash on into the city, even though it is Paris.
What do you suggest?
Well, why don't we stop and have something to eat?
On this road?
Well, just off of it. I know a charming little hotel. No, it's nothing smart. It's really just a country inn, but the cooking...
You're making me hungry. Is it far?
No, we turned at the next corner. What do you say, Henry?
I'm always prepared to experiment with French cuisine.
In plain American, he said, yes. Let's go.
A river. That must be the Loisette, a tributary of the Seine.
Look, if they have it, I recommend the Troutmanier. Would you like to eat inside, or would you prefer to stay in the garden?
On a day like this, the garden.
All right, well, you and Henry choose what table you want. I'll go telephone Paris about the reservations.
Where would you like to sit?
Over here.
Yeah?
You speak English?
Yes, monsieur.
Have you a telephone here?
Inside, monsieur.
In there? Through here?
It is just here.
Thank you, Randall!
Come on! The book! Get the door open!
Mr. Randall! Mr. Randall! They've got Miss Carter.
Who?
The man in the airport. He took her away in a car.
What, is you what kind of car it was?
It was a 2-tone, 3-liter Rover. License number 204 MKX.
Good boy. I'll go call the police in the restaurant.
Mr. Randall, I think I know what these men are after. If you call the police, they may hurt Mrs. Carter.
All right, young man. Suppose you tell me what this is all about.
You know that book I bought, Basic Calculus?
Mm-hmm.
Well, one of the men who kidnapped Miss Carter was in the bookshop when I bought the book. He was the man at the airport restaurant that you asked me if I recognized.
But I thought you told me that you'd never seen him before.
I wanted to be sure. Now I think I know what these men are after.
Well, what?
This book.
Why would they go to all this trouble for a book?
Well, there's a lot in it that isn't about cycloids at all. Schematic drawings and equations that deal with rotary air compression. Basic Calculus would never contain anything like that.
Could these plans have anything to do with jet engines?
Yes.
I think I know what this is all about. Come on. We're going to a hotel rooms in Paris. Your theory is correct. I'll be very surprised if we don't get a message from those two men sometime tonight. That'll be all right.
Merci, monsieur.
Hello? Yes. Well, you didn't waste any time, did you?
So, Mr. Randall, you're expecting to hear from us. Well, that makes things a lot easier for all of us. You perhaps know our business? Yeah, but before we discuss any details, I have a friend of yours here who'd like to have a word with you. Okay, you talk to him. Tell him exactly what I told you and nothing else.
Hello, Bill. I'm all right. I'm in Paris with those two men.
Is she all right?
Listen, Susie, you tell them that if anything happens to you, I'll make it my personal business.
I haven't much time, Bill. They want the book. You know, the one Henry bought in the store, Basic Calculus. If you bring it to them straight away, they promise to let me go.
Okay, mister, you heard the lady. If you don't do exactly as we say, then we'll start getting rough. Oh, mister, I hope for her sake you don't do anything silly like calling the cops. right, now listen carefully. Here's exactly what you got to do.
Yes? Yes, I understand. You'll be waiting for me. All right. I'll be there in 20 minutes. Yes, with the book. Miss Carter's all right. They want the book.
It's no good to me anyhow. Half the pages are torn out. They substituted the plan for a type of reversible jet nozzle that would permit a plane to take off vertically and then fly as a conventional jet.
Those plans were stolen from the Space Development Corporation a couple of days ago. It was in the newspapers before we left. The men that have Miss Carter are paid to steal industrial secrets. Right, now, I don't want to take any chances. The first thing is to get Miss Carter back safely.
Here, you might need these. It's a concentrate of nitric and sulfuric acid and nitrocellulose. Those round ones are saltpeter and sulfur mixed with charcoal.
Well, what are they for?
Weren't you ever a kid, Mr. Randall? These little ones are torpedoes, and that's a smoke bomb. I made them with my chemical set.
The book?
That's right.
Can I have it, please?
No. The deal was you were to take me to Miss Carter first.
Just show me the book. Good. Come on.
It's all right. It's all over now.
Very touching. Come on, let's have the book. I wouldn't want to have to call any of these gentlemen.
May we go now?
Just a minute. Take a look. See, it's all there.
The book hasn't been touched.
We'll see for ourselves. What about it, okay?
Seems all right.
Well, make up your mind.
Hasn't been touched.
Okay. Come on, let's go. Okay, mister. When you get out of here, take the girl and beat it. Don't hang around or you'll be in trouble.
Look, you run. Go find a cab, then come back for me here. There's something I want to do.
Let's just get away. I'm frightened. It's an awful place.
Look, just do as I say. It'll be all right. Go on. Henry will be proud of me.
Hello, operator. Could you give me opera 0602, please? Thank you. Hello, is that Mr. Gruber? Could I come over on a matter of great importance? Thank you.
First, you tell me you have the book. I come all the way from London. Now you tell me you've lost it again. This man, Randall. I never heard of him. Who is he working for?
We don't know. All we do know is that him, the girl, and the boy, they must be working together.
Perhaps we should make a deal with him, cut him in for part of our share.
That guy. First he throws a stick of dynamite through that window. Then when we get outside, 4 guys jump me. There were shots going off all over the place.
He had a gang? Yeah, they were waiting for us. I told him, I said, do not use violence.
Yes, that was very wrong. Still, there is a lot of money involved. Well, I'll handle this matter myself. Where did you say he's staying? The Beau Séjour. Well, I'll go and see him myself. This is the only way. Now you can see what can be done with tact and diplomacy. Thick ear methods get no one anywhere nowadays.
Good morning.
Well, hello there. Well, you're up early. I was going to let you sleep late after last night. Some coffee?
No, I've already had some. No, I'm fine, actually. They didn't treat me too badly.
Nevertheless, you must be sorry that you ever gave us that lift.
No, I'm rather enjoying it. Doesn't happen to me every day.
Well, just don't make a habit of it. I won't feel happy till I get you out of here.
Mercury International's reputation is at stake. We always deliver freight undamaged.
Well, we better hurry up, otherwise Mr. Peabody's crates will be in Switzerland before us.
Haven't we time for a little shopping?
When you say a little, do you mean a little?
Very little. I promised Henry.
All right.
I better call it. Henry! Henry! He's not there.
Well, maybe he went down to breakfast.
You don't think those...
No. They'd never dare follow us to the hotel. Wait a minute. Come in.
Mr. Randall, may I come in? Good morning. I have a small matter of business to discuss with Mr. Randall.
Have you? What about?
Mr. Randall, we are all in this together. You've been commissioned to secure a certain book for your client, I for mine. Therefore, I'm prepared to offer you a substantial amount for the return of this rare book.
And supposing that I don't want to sell?
Then, unfortunately, I must report this matter to the police. Quite a serious matter, Mr. Randall. I shouldn't think you'd want to be implicated.
Just what have you got to gain by reporting me to the police?
A large reward has been offered for the return of the plans, Mr. Randall. Naturally, I'll claim it.
I see. Well, supposing I were to tell you that I haven't got the book,
Naturally, I wouldn't believe you.
Naturally, but it happens to be true.
Come, Mr. Randall, let us not play games. If you give me this book now, this is yours. $25,000. If not, then I'll report to the police that you stole the book, and I will claim the reward. I hold all the cards.
Except for one thing. I haven't got the book.
Is this what you're looking for?
Henry, where have you been?
I had a little business to arrange.
I think you better let me have that.
But I don't want it anymore. Here, mister, it's yours.
Stevenson's kidnapped?
Look inside.
Henry, do you know what you're doing?
Oh, yes.
Oh, I thought you'd see it my way. Thank you. Mr. Randall, your check. Bye-bye. It's rather disgraceful, though, teaching a young boy to be a crook. He should be in school. Oh, thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, young man. Explanations department, please. Or do we call the police?
That won't be necessary.
Oh, why won't it?
Because of what I have Mr. Gruber print to put in the book this morning, in place of all that jet engine stuff.
And what did you have Mr. Gruber print to put in the book this morning?
The circuits and plans of an electronic poker machine. Except if you built one by my equations, it would never pay out at all. You see, that way it would be bound to infuriate whoever they sold it to. It's called Pennyfeather's syndrome. We don't mind being swindled so much, but we hate to be underestimated. Pennyfeather showed in his work with Rattus, that's the ordinary common brown rat, that even the lower forms can be induced into a vestigial...
Well, welcome home.
Miss me?
I'm not telling. What kept you?
Supervising the delivery of Mr. Peabody's effects. Remember?
Yes, I do indeed. In fact, I have a letter to prove it. Here it is. He praises your efficiency. She's a credit to your company. You can keep it and frame it.
Delighted to have given satisfaction.
Well, in fact, I think I owe you an apology, Miss Carter.
Why?
Now, let's face it, I burdened you with a child prodigy and a boring old businessman.
Mr. William J. Randall?
Yeah, from what I hear, he's got one foot on the grave.
Henry gave me the same impression. I wonder if I could have the day off.
Well, yes, if you must, but you've just arrived.
Mr. William J. Randall is in town, and I promised to show him around.
I see. Oh, I suppose you're right, Miss Carter. Let's cultivate a business association, even if it's boring. Where are you taking him first? The British Museum? Or let him have a nap at the House of Commons?
Lunch at the Mirabelle.
Yes?
Dash to Goodwood.
Goodwood?
For the races. Then nip back to town in time for show before we do the nightclubs.
Tell me, Miss Carter, what kind of an old gentleman is this?
Sprightly.
Where are you meeting him?
He's calling for me.
Susie!
Now.
Hello, Susie!
Mr. Varela, Mr. William J. Randall.
Hi.
Well, I have a feeling I should have gone on this job myself. Qualified staff is very hard to come by.
Bye.
Thank you.